governorship election, and you've not missed much. Sir, welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, would like you to tell us a little about yourself.
Number one, I'm not a complicated person, so let's start from there first. I was born to the family of my late Simeon Olasunkomi Odue and Chief Mrs. Odue, and I enjoyed love from them, and also had the grace to also be schooled from my nursery to primary. I had my both post-primary education, fortunately in Ibadan Government College. From there, I went to Ife, now Bafemewolo University, where I studied law. And after that, I also furthered abroad. So in terms of education, I think I did a little bit of that. I also have my master's in law as well, with a specific area of specialization in international trade and commercial law, which I employed in my business practices. I'm a businessman by profession. I've been involved in doing business there and there. And my business, specifically people who know me within the private sector can attest to that. I've been involved in the supplies of POS, BTL. I do a lot of contracting here and there. I do importations too. At a point in time, I did a couple of exports too, out of the country. And by virtue of the nature of businesses I do, I want to say that fairly, I'm well traveled. Out of the 5 continents, I've been to 4 for business and otherwise, except for the Scandinavia. The other 4 parts of the continent in the world I've traveled, doing business all over. So that's part of the exposure I want to say that I've gathered over the past over 20 years in doing business at the private sector. And in terms of family, I'm married and I have kids, blessed. And I enjoy giving. They will say a philanthropist. I don't like that word. I rather prefer to say I enjoy giving. I enjoy giving to people because I like putting a smile on people's faces. I am a kind of person that I like to look at time I want to look up. I want to see God smiling because I put a smile on somebody's face. You know? And coming into politics, for me, like I said, it's a calling, 1. 2, I see it as an extension of the work of a missionary. That's just the sole purpose. So I'm not that person who is your average definition of politician. A Christian first before becoming a politician. So I allow morals to guide me.
And I think that is what we need in this session with him.
I hope we can have a harvest of a lot of that.
All right, sir. As a successful businessman and investor, I have a mantra. I will always say, every electorate should think like an investor, and every candidate, every gubernatorial candidate, whether presidential, whatever it is, should always think like a CEO. That way, you know how to make sure that a company works. Like I always like when a candidate sees the nation like a company that is running, then you'll know that you have a responsibility to make sure it works. So thinking from the CEO point of view, how do you hope to run Osun State and put it where it's supposed to be?
Well, what is most important now is we need to right a lot of the wrongs first. Misplacement of priorities, so much is in place there right now, and that's why we're where we are. How do I mean? The moment the electorate electing wrong choice of people, definitely they'll be making wrong choices. Wrong decisions will be made, priorities will be misplaced, vision will be blurred or dark, and so many things will go wrong. Otherwise, Osun has no business being where we are right now. Osun has a state. But the reason why we're there, if you look at it, we've had 3, let me say, administrations since the creation of this inception of this political era that we are in. I can count them for you, for the records. We had the administration of Chibisi Akonde from 1999 to 2003. That's a regime. Then the regime of Olagunso Ilola came in from 2003 to when it was thrown out in 2010 by the reason of the judiciary.
Yes.
And then we've had this present administration till now that, by the grace of God, it's a cancer that will come to a terminal end by September 2018. I'm sorry, I'm an optimist, and I believe strongly that relief and change will come to Osun State. So if you compare these three administrations that we've had in the past, this is the worst we've ever had.
By far.
In fact, by every dimensions of measurement. This is the worst. In every sector of it. The only thing you can just show is that they've succeeded in enjoying capital flight out of Osun. So much money is a government that's taking so much loan. It's not so bad as a businessman that you are taking the loan. But
pay.
what do you do with the loans you've taken? If this administration actually took into cognizance that the repayment will be by the blood of the people as it's happening right now, and deaths of the people, I'm sure a God-fearing person will not take such decisions. Otherwise, you would have taken into cognizance meeting with the people of the state, particularly people of the public sector and the stakeholders even in the private sector, because everything is only impacting on the public sector. It's also affecting the private sector. It's affecting everybody across board.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to say is, if those meetings were held, consultations were made, and the books were made open, and the cards were made plain on the table, this administration might not have gone that neck deep in debt and created burdens and burdens onto even generations unborn. So those are issues, and reasons why you do that is because you obviously have sadistic and mischievous intentions and purposes. Otherwise, you will not be there, because you can eat and feed and clothe yourself. You watch other people languish in poverty and pain. Deaths are recorded daily in Osun. By reason of this, you want to call it salary modularization. It's crazy.
Let me come in there.
It's crazy.
It's salary mobilization.
I just want to, please allow me, just give me a minute. Let me round up on that. So you can understand why I said we don't have any business being there. All the funds, all the monies that were borrowed, if this money is just a quarter or a third of it, if they were invested in Osun, in agriculture, in our potentials, Osun will be one of the wealthiest
States.
I'm telling you. Because some of us who come from we can smell, we can see potentials. We can see potentials. And so, and it was because they took wrong decisions from ab initio, because the intentions and the motives were mischievous. That's why they have to put repayment back on salaries. If I were a government that understood what it comes to running, you're not going to take, I won't allow a state government borrow money beyond her capacity, like Osun has done now. And then the masses are suffering for it. So it takes someone who is ingenious, it takes somebody who is creative to be able to see the death in where we are and bring life to it. And that's why I believe that dead bones can rise again. We only need to take the right decisions now and begin to reprioritize our goals and objectives. And we'll begin to give life back to the people. Osun, they're not asking for too much. They are just asking for life. They want to live. And I believe that by the fact that God has created us, we have a right to live. Just want to live and work, and everybody's not asking, nobody wants to buy plane. They're not interested in buying helicopters or building skyscrapers there. They just want to live. Basic provisions of life. That's all. So that's why I said to you that we have no business being where we are.
All right, we have no business being where we are, but I would like to ask this. We've talked about the alarming amounts that the state is owing, and how do you hope to take care of these loans and at the same time, simultaneously delivering on the good mandate that you have at heart, given the fact that there is a huge amount that the state is owing, and you still have to deliver the good mandate to the people, and that also needs a lot of money as well.
Good. Number one, we need to manage expectations of the people, that it is not a miracle one that will happen in one day, the moment I'm sworn in.
Good.
So let's not lie to the people. Let's not make unrealistic electoral promises. I won't do that. But I know that within the first term in office, things will change for the better. Why? You're asking me to unveil so many strategies.
Yeah.
We have not we're not done through elections.
All right.
And so some things I will not be able to say on here is in a public
Then we
place.
just want to.
But I can give you a hint.
All right.
Some people will be telling you that, oh yeah, some aspirants have said they're going to renegotiate loans and blah, blah, blah. I've said this. Except you have not been in a position where you've handled facilities, you've done businesses in humongous figures before, then you don't understand what you're talking about. You can only renegotiate not the principal, just the interest. But the burden on us show today is not the interest. It's even the principal that you've taken, that were misprioritized, misused. If those monies were put into things that will reinvent back the economy of the state, that will jump at the commerce and trade of the state, the IGR coming from the state will be paying these loans back, and worker salaries will be paid without this story of modulation of salaries, without half salaries, half a salary like they call it in Oshun. It's become a popular balance. So that's just one. So it's not just the issue of renegotiating. That is just a little out of so many. I've mentioned quite a number of them, like I did mention earlier before. I just give you a little hint here and there. The potentials are what we're going to tap on that will bring us wealth, that will jump at the revenue and the IGR of the state. We need to take care of those loans. That's one. Two, some of those loans are bad loans. What I mean bad ab initio. The records will be made open, and we'll look at which ones are ones that the state has a commitment to pay. If we cannot afford to pay all now, we won't pay all. We have to renegotiate in terms of restructuring it. How much do you pay? When do you pay? What's the tenure? So many things. Let's not go too deep into that. I'll begin to unveil. But I can assure you, and I say this before the public, that the issues of the huge debt in Oshun should not give us sleepless nights. If the right decisions are taken and the right person is in the mantle of leadership.
So are we saying, talking about salaries, that salaries are going to be paid? Now, talking about the 50%, even we see the same thing happening in Oyo State. Oyo State, we say they are paying 3% of your salary today, they are paying 4%. It's been divided, and then at the end of the day, you know, people are just confused because majorly people working are not those that can calculate 3%, 0.1, and all that, all those funny kind of rates. Now, are we saying salaries can be paid in full? First, can it be paid in full? Two, is it going to be paid?
Okay, let's come down to the basics. You see, when the elites, the educated ones, when they want to capitalize on the little knowledge or low knowledge of the masses, they postulate economic theories. We'll make it very simple and basic. Were the salaries, these are simple rhetorical questions, were the salaries being paid before? If the answer is yes, what went wrong? Why are we not paying salaries again? You look at the reasons why we're not paying salaries again. You look for other avenues which I've mentioned before to address the reasons why those salaries were not being paid. If you can tackle that, the answer to your question is a positive yes. Salaries will be paid. In as much as you have lived in that society with people, you know either wears the shoes, know where it pains most. If you are part and parcel of them, I grew from the private sector. Government has no business it does than making money from the private sector. So if I'm coming from there, I know the things that are my complaints. I understand the pains of the average man because we live and feed and buy from the same market. Now, I'm a product of the public sector that is being killed now. I went to public schools. I didn't enjoy any private school from beginning till maybe when I had my master's. So if I'm a product of that same public school that is being killed, public system that is being killed now, I owe it not only to my generation, but the generation coming behind to have a better life than I had. So it depends on where you're coming from. So having salaries paid should not be an issue. The Bible clearly says, I'm sorry I can't refer to the Quran, I always use the Bible, that a laborer is worthy of his wages.
Yes, sir.
So if you know that a laborer is worthy of his wages, you must ensure that from what he earns is what is paid. That's why those who are, it's not this complicated. Let's believe.
Okay, and another thing, the second part of this is, of course, it's when you're working, you expect to be paid by the end of the month. You get what I'm saying? Now, apart from agriculture, which you mentioned earlier, Are we looking at other places? Because so that if I'm not the kind of person that went to school to study agriculture, so that I won't think probably I don't have a hope in your tenure. Are we looking at other places like engineering, like mass communication, that we are going to see jobs being created?
Now, it's good you're coming up with this issue of job creation. A lot of people have this conception that government creates job. When a government tells you we'll provide 100,000 jobs, 200,000 jobs, where will the salaries to pay them come from? But the reality of it and the joy of it is this. When you look at a system, at a state, the reason why we mentioned that's one of our best potentials. That's why I mentioned agriculture. I did mention tourism, remember?
Yeah.
The government makes money from the private sector. So for you to survive as a government that will be self-sustaining, you need to partner with the private sector and make the environment more enabling. Once it allows private sector to grow, will they not employ more people? Are you following now?
Yes.
That's one of the keys. So you need to partner with the private sector. Some states are doing it, and look at the economy. Lagos State started, Ogun State started, and look at what Ogun State they've done so far. So the reality of what you have now is you must, because you as a government will not create a parastatal and say 100,000 people should put in job applications and you give them jobs. What job are you giving them? When you partner, you support private sector properly and you engage them, you allow your policies, your body language, your practices, your laws encourage the private sectors to grow. When businesses grow, they will expand. There will be more jobs. More other people will get into other areas of business engagements. It's not only agriculture, like you said. There will be more property developers that will come in.
Yeah.
That will benefit me. It will bring down the cost of so many things. Opportunities will be there. So the opportunities are vast, like I did mention to you. We talked about tourism. We want to talk about the entertainment industry as well. That is one of the fastest growing sectors. Right. We have not really done. We're just talking around it here. Fortunately for me, I married one of them.
Wow.
And because my wife is one of the entertainers who comes from the entertainment industry, I share their pains and I know what their issues are. So that has given me a further privilege. This case is a case of I don't know, I inquire and I ask if my intentions are genuine. So those are sectors that will generate so much job opportunities and even revenue. You want to know how much Hollywood rakes in for the US government? Go and check Bollywood in India.
Yes.
Please ask me, how much has Nigerian government, how much have they made from Nollywood?
Now,
And how much of the potentials of Nollywood have they tapped into that has brought in so much revenue back to the government?
I would like to zoom into your campaign right now. And we have the APC has been ruling for many years now, and you are a card bearer of the People's Democratic Party. So there's this thing called the power of incumbency, and also most of the governors now, they almost have like a mandate from their party that you have to give this state back to this same party. In fact, they spend more time trying to make themselves a stalwart to be able to give that state back to the same party than even developing the state. So when the incumbent is doing so much to make sure that the power remains in the party, what are your strategies to make sure that your own campaign can be able to overcome this huge power of the incumbents?
Okay, I think what you're trying to ask me to talk about is the ability of APC returning themselves to office. Is that what you're asking me?
How you overcome the power that they've generated?
I want to say something. That's what I'm asking you. You see, this is not so difficult a thing. Can a man crown himself and make himself king? That's not possible. That's one. Two, rigging is only possible where a candidate is very popular. We have had elections, I will speak with specific reference to Osun State. We have had elections conducted in Osun since this inception of this second term of this administration. And my party, PDP, we've won all the elections without being in government. I can cite them. They're all in the public place. We've had a by-election for the House of Assembly. and we returned back. We won that election again. We had another by-election at the senatorial level, and we created and we got a senator out of it again. So we have been growing in leaps and bounds. So this issue of power of incumbency has failed, and will also fail again, because the people of Osun now, they can't wait for September 22nd to boot APC out.
I was thinking
Out
you
of
say sweep
Osun.
them out.
No, sweeping. They are the debris they've left is so huge and heavy that
So
brooms
sweep
cannot.
them
No, so they have to just kick the thing out and just get it out of the place, and that's the reality. So they have to boot them out of the place. And the joy of it all is that we have learnt our lessons as a party, PDP. We know where the errors and the wrongs were, and those things have been corrected. And that's why you see the electorate, the public, synergizing with us in this case. Those previous elections we've had, we enjoyed the massive support. That's why the results were neck-breaking. We enjoyed the massive support of the electorate, and we delivered to them. And the promises that we're making to people now, come September 2018, elect us back into government in Osun State, and we'll bring that life that you used to enjoy back. We'll restore the glory of the state called Osun Living Spring, as it was called then. We'll bring back life to Osun State.
I would like to ask you, you mentioned to us that your wife is from the entertainment industry, and let's roll back to 2008 elections when Obama came in the US. He had a lot of support from the black community because he's a black man, and we know in the US the entertainment industry is hugely dominated by the black entertainers, and that was a huge one for him coming into government. So your wife being in the entertainment industry, how do you hope to use it as an advantage for your campaign?
Now, the issue now is not using it, but right now they are part of the struggle. They are feeling the pains as well. They know that their industry should have grown better, and they know that the only way the government at the federal can see that if they enjoy the support from any government that they should get, that they will do better. So they're already in it.
So they see this
as their own.
mandate.
They know and they believe that once Osun is delivered to one of their own, they'll go all out. They'll go gaga for it. So it's a thing. It's a joint venture.
All right. We'll be going on a very short break, and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
are welcome back. We've been with Honorable Dr. Kade Oduoye, one of the frontrunners for the gubernatorial elections in Osun State, and then we've been having a wonderful discussion on what he hopes to bring to the table if elected as a governor. But one thing I want us to talk about right now is the IGR. How do we make it jump? It's not just improve it. I mean make it jump in such a way that you talked about self-sustenance, that states should be self-sustaining, is too reliant on the federal government allocation, which has made many governors just sit back and just expect some alert to drop in their account at the end of the month when they are not coppers waiting for Alawi. But as somebody, as a new man coming in, we believe in your candidacy. What are you going to do to increase the IGR, like right now?
Well, like I mentioned earlier on, you only need to look at the core strength values of the state. It's, if you don't want to become a taskmaster, you just have to look at where the potentials are. And you have to tap in those areas and then pick it up. And I mentioned part of it, which will not happen overnight. I mentioned agriculture, I mentioned tourism, I mentioned entertainment. We'll look at trade and commerce. All these things talked about have to do with the partnership with the private sector, because government has nothing to offer than security for the private sector you're partnering with. Give them those, show them the potentials as they are, secure the investment, and promote the investment, which comes by the policies and laws of the state. So these are some of the sectors I've mentioned that are sources of increasing the IGR of the state. Except you want to become a taskmaster, that's when you'll be looking at taxes on people. The people who are already kwashiorkor, you still want to take blood out of them again? You're killing them. So the IGR of the state cannot jump, it will grow. That's why I kept using the word grow. Because a weakling, a weak, feeble person cannot jump. You break the leg or crack the bones. So you must gather strength. Yes. A kwashiorkor patient requires not only blood like people think, it requires a lot of nutrients as well. And all those things are gradual. But when they are done proportionately and appropriately, the state will gather strength and grow. One of my aim and goal is to make a
you have a youth movement, and people also see your candidacy as a youth candidacy. How much we know that past governments have also connected with the youth when they want to go into power. But after they come into power, they seem to put them in the backstage. The youths that you have worked with over the years, what is going to be their chances in your government?
Like I said, we need to have that orientation of togetherness. It's a teamwork. What we're doing today is for tomorrow, is not for yesterday. And for a government that wants to be successful, you must have planned for tomorrow.
Yes, sure.
So, and that's why in the popular parlance they say the youth are the leaders of tomorrow, so we must engage them. That's why you find that around me all the time, it's people of my generation and generation that is immediately after me, because we're planning and thinking, we're talking together, we're looking at issues together about how they will succeed us. That's the idea. So they must understand, they must come in the envelope of mind of, oh, so this is how you do this and you get success from this. So there must be a synergy in our mindset. There must be a collaborative effort in the things that will set to address our goal, and our vision must be single. And in doing that, you must tag along with them. There's a saying that if you do not lay your bed well, you lie as you find it. They say, as you lay your bed, so you lie. So we are planning already for the future. That's why we're engaging them. The generation coming behind us. They must have that sense of belonging. They must have that sense of responsibility that it's about their tomorrow. That's what today is all about. Today is about tomorrow. So you are not going to leave the plan for tomorrow. It must start today. And that's why that collaborative effort, that togetherness, you see them all around me, and we jolly together, we'll think together, we'll take decisions together. Good. Because a time will come, I quit the stage. Our generation will quit the stage. So the stage must not be new to them then. They must be looking at our errors now. They must be looking at how can they make it better. And that's the beauty of it.
I'll be asking you these last two questions. The first one is more not like a question like that. Now, I've asked you about salary payments and all initially. And I'm just going to be stating a scenario now where we have a leader who is being paid salaries. He is being paid. He is getting paid for what he does and what he doesn't. He has people under him who he is not paying. They are working and they are not getting paid. I'm just going to ask you, what's your take on that scenario?
You see, I did mention to you earlier on that the main reason why corruption has eaten so deep into the fabrics of our system is because we've allowed it for it to grant so much root. The root has gone in so deep that we have normalized what is not normal. And things that are meant to be seen as aberrations have become, oh, it's okay, it's normal. Do normal now, those kind of things. So if we do not hit back at the system, it will just eventually amount to doing the same thing over and over again. So the answer to your question clearly is in, we'll begin to turn and begin to right the wrongs. It's a gradual thing.
Talking about normalizing things, we have the normal route of people going through godfathers to become whatever it is they want to be. What's your take on this too?
I'm glad you didn't ask me who is my godfather. I was afraid you're going to ask me.
No, I know you answered that. That's why I did not.
Well, I'm one of those. I have huge respect for our leaders all across, and that's why I reverence and I revere them so much. But you see, above all these our leaders and elders, there's God the Father. So once God the Father has spoken, all of us should listen. We should not be saying again, so that we don't create a bundle of confusion like we have right now. When God the Father has spoken, others are still speaking. So there are too many people are hearing too many voices. So it creates confusion. That's part of the confusion we find ourselves. But as a leader, you must understand that your responsibility is first and foremost to He that created all. And that's God the Father. So my God the Father belief has enabled and also endeared me to respect and revere all our leaders and elders and fathers as they are. And that is where I point myself.
All right, I would like to say, your wife is from the entertainment industry, so I'm going back there again.
Yes, please.
We've had so much entertainment in politics now. We have, I can go on and on about senators doing all sorts, and they are making us laugh so much. What would be your own comic relief for the people if you come into power, so that people don't just, there has to be something that, it makes them look up to their governor and say, oh, when it comes around, we're going to see something like this. What would be your own comic relief, like entertainment feel for the people?
Let me ask you this question. I will use a question to answer this question now. How many times have you seen a deep, sickened person laugh?
When he sees people that are close to him.
That's when he laughs. Someone at the point of death, does he laugh?
No.
That's the state of the economy of Osun. It requires implicit and absolute seriousness than me having a laugh right now. I can only manage one, and I will enjoy one when the results are achieved. That's my personal position.
So what would be your parting shot for our people at home today? Everyone is watching you, and what's your parting shot?
Well, I would, like I've always pleaded, that we should see this as a common problem. the problem that Besit just shown is huge. I want to crave the indulgence and appeal to our people that we should not miss this shot again. This is a shot. I want to say it again for the records, both publicly and privately. I've said that before. This race I'm running is a divine mandate, and I need their collective effort and support for us to turn our state or show around, that we can live again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be rounding up now. Again, it's one-on-one, and we have Dapo Arawi and myself, Olukunsayo Apoyemi, and it's been a privilege having you around, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's a very great privilege,
I appreciate it.
sir.
Thank you.
If you're just joining us, you've missed a lot, and we'll be right now seeing us. We'll be seeing you again on the next show, on the next segment of this. Thank you for joining us.